After an overachieving season with Conference League qualification and £55 million to spend, it was time to get busy in the transfer window. The board are happy for us to finish mid-table and they'd like us to challenge for the Conference League. Two respectable targets I feel are well within our grasp. Finances were an issue, however, so it has to be a sensible transfer window. The owner then popped a cheeky $21 million to the club to assist with financial fair play. With Kyle Walker-Peters leaving on a free at the end of the coming season, it was time to cash in. And cash in we did, selling him for £28.5 million to West Ham. Now to splash some of that cash on a left back. Before that though, we let Paul go for 4.8 mil, Lianco for 10, including add-ons, Teller to Fulham for 16, Aribo to Mönchengladbach for 2, and Diamond Edwards for 11.25 million. A massive exodus of deadwood, getting us over 70 million and freeing up plenty of wages. Time to get spending. For transfers, a right winger was a priority, and I've got my eye on a young Swede. Rooney Bargy, £12.75 million later, and we had our man. A little high on the wages and a minimum fee release clause I'm not too thrilled about, but if someone comes in and triggers that for 78 million, I won't lose any sleep over it. We needed a backup goalkeeper, so we got Moises Ramirez for 1.3 million. We also got a young centre-back with bags of potential, Ulises Jimenez, for 4.2 million. We signed youngster Thiago Santos at right back for 10.5 mil. We got Ethan Ampadu for free as a centre-back squad option after his release from Chelsea. Then Miguel Gutierrez for 14 million as a replacement for Kyle Walker-Peters. We also delved in for another young centre-back prospect, Linus Gector, for 12.5 million from Hertha Berlin. We pushed on and tried for a couple of bigger signings. Sadly, Asugo chose Arsenal, but we managed to splash the cash on world-class centre-back Maxence Lacroix from Wolfsburg. £42 million and £160,000 a week. He was pricey. I hope he's going to be worth it. And finally, we added a bit of young depth in the playmaker department. Burak Ince, costing us £8.75 million. With Europe to contend with, we need decent squad depth. We have a bit of money to spare, £5 million in the transfer kitty and £120,000 in wages, but I don't want to spend for the sake of it, especially considering I've got one eye on the club's financial situation, which will fail financial fair play by a few million for Europe. And considering we're in Europe, that's a problem. And in terms of media predictions, they think we'll be 9th. That suits me. It means we should hit our objective of mid-table, and in terms of top goal scorer, Marcus Leonardo's in the running, slotted in between a who's who of world-class forwards. Go on, Marcus, lad. As the season approaches, Leeds were dealt a blow when the big man Ralph resigned to take the Austria job. For anyone who's interested. In the third qualifying round of the Conference League, it was Sarpsborg, and in the away leg we took the lead with last season's top goal scorer, Marcus Leonardo. In stoppage time at the end of the first half, Andrew Omabamidele, that name's hard, doubled our lead before Alex Scott rounded off the scoring 3-0. And to adhere to European financial fair play, we sold Romain Perraud for £8.75 million. We have plenty of young fullbacks, so he won't be missed. Sorry, Roman. And the Premier League campaign started against Swansea. We won 2-0, but left it a little late. Goals from James Ward-Prowse from the spot, and a debut goal for Rooney Bargy. We progressed in the Conference League, beating Sarpsborg 6-2 and 9-2 on aggregate, and we followed that up with a decent 2-0 against Wolves, but once again, leaving it a little late. A 0-0 in the home leg against Colne, which led to a tough away game where we had to get a result, or our European dream is already over. Fortunately, we had no game in between, so we had a full week to rest. A full-strength squad marched into Colne and defiantly fell behind after half an hour. However, we weren't ready to fall at the first hurdle. New signing Rooney Bargy popped up with the equaliser. Matthias Franke put us ahead on the night and in the tie before Maxence Lacroix got his first for the club. A 3-1 win, and we're off to the Europa Conference League phase. That needs a snappier name. Fresh off the back of the European success, we followed up with a 2-0 win against West Ham before dismantling Leicester in the Carabao Cup 5-2. Then, as luck would have it, we had Leicester in the league in the next game. 3 easy points based on the Carabao Cup domination. We bounced back from that defeat against Sheffield United, winning 4-1. We're in the top 4 after 5 games, with a game in hand. A great start to the season, which we capitalised on in the only way we know how, with a 3-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. We continued our great Carabao Cup form, however, with a 3-2 win against Brentford. Up next, top of the table Spurs. Spurs! Only 6 games in. We took the lead after 10 minutes from a composed finish from Marcus Leonardo. Harry Kane then missed a penalty, blazing it wide before Son equalised for Spurs in the second half. But they were only on level terms for 3 minutes, with Fabian Rieder restoring the lead from the spot. Sadly, we couldn't hold on. Kulusevski equalised. Overall though, very pleased with a 2-2 draw against the league leaders. And we started our Conference League phase campaign. That needs such a snappier name, doesn't it? Europe, Maccabi Tel Aviv, a 2-0 win in the first game. Overdue goal for Lorenzo Luca. The international break was up next, and Arda Güler got his first cap for Turkey. Thank you, Turkey manager. Him, for showing faith in young prospects. Then when they all came back, we lost 3-1 to Man City. The bunch of Turkey managers. A disappointing 0-0 against Sociedad, followed up by a dismal game against Watford, bailed out by Ox in the 96th minute. Recent results in the league haven't been so great, so that was a much needed win. After 10 games, we're down in 12th, which is a long way from 4th, where we were after 5 games. We continued the Carabao Cup run, this time against Blackpool, with a 2-0 win. Then we got ourselves back on track in the league against Villa, a 2-1 win, courtesy of 2 goals from our main man, Marcus. Lorenzo Luca came to me wanting to start more games, and I said, I'm sorry Lorenzo, but your form, Lorenzo, is absolutely Then we got our second draw in a row in the Conference League, a 2-2 draw away at Wolfsberger. Wingebag Lorenzo Luca came on and bagged the only goal of the game against Bournemouth in a 1-0 win. And against Newcastle, we went behind early. However, we came back, and in the 81st minute, Mateus Franca grabbed an equaliser, snatching a point quite late. But wait, there's more. In the 90th minute, Marcus Leonardo stepped up and surely grabbed the winner. Or at least I thought. Nicolo Zaniolo equalised for Newcastle in the 91st minute, salvaging a draw. At least I thought. Alexander Isak then scored in the 96th minute to completely crush my hopes and dreams. A rollercoaster of a game ends in heartbreak. Deja vu as we had a dramatic late loss to Newcastle a couple of seasons ago. However, that bitter disappointment was put firmly behind us with a much needed win in the Conference League against Dynamo Batumi. A hat-trick for Lorenzo Luca. He's starting to find his feet and made me think twice about who starts, him or Marcus. We then had back-to-back draws, a 2-2 against Manchester United, followed by a 1-1 against Brentford. Marcus Leonardo and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain are saviours once again. The good news keeps on coming as Leonardo and Franca feature as Young Player of the Month contenders. We nearly ran a clean sweep for November. There's the good news and now the bad. The board have swiped all transfer budget and moved the wage budget down by £200,000, meaning we're slightly overspending. The finances are all over the place. Looks like we need to make a couple more sales in January. A rare Tino Livramento goal was all that was needed in a tense game against Arsenal before we continued our unbeaten run in the Conference League, a 3-0 win against Lech Poznan. Ox bagging a brace. Just as things look like they're on the up, we get slapped back down. An awful youth intake preview, followed by a 3-1 loss to Liverpool. We beat St Gallen 5-1 in the Conference League and qualified from the league phase in second place. Only Sassuolo ahead of us, and we're undefeated. See you in the final, Sassuolo. Then we took apart league leaders Tottenham in the Carabao Cup quarter-final in a fantastic 3-0 win. Yes, they're still top of the league. After we beat Tottenham, we managed to set up a semi-final against Arsenal. However, a few short days later, we had Spurs again in the league and they got their revenge with a 4-1 win. This leaves us 13th in the league after 18 games. However, we do have games in hand on everyone, but the table doesn't look great, does it? We are then notified Kefren Turam's contract is expiring in 6 months. Something we've been waiting for since the summer window. We've offered a deal, and will it be signed before the big dogs swoop in? The answer is yes! We have our man, for free! Amazing addition. Now let's go and get him some European football next season, shall we? We started strong with a 2-0 win at home to Palace, but succumbed to a 2-0 defeat to Manchester City a few days later. A dramatic game against Leeds saw us go ahead early through Marcus Leonardo. However, Leeds fought back and found themselves 2-1 up, just after the hour mark. A quick 1-2 punch saw us turn the tide. First Marcus Leonardo scored, then Arda Güler popped up just 2 minutes later. As Leeds pushed for an equaliser, we extended the lead and Marcus Leonardo completed his hat-trick. 4-2. Then it was Carabao Cup semi-final time against Arsenal. In the first leg, we won 2-1. However, in the other leg, we lost 2-0, so we're out. Maybe next season, boys. Maybe next season. However, another cup run might be on the cards, as in the FA Cup we beat Fulham 1-0 with a goal from Linus Gector. Then came back-to-back Premier League games against Everton. At Goodison, we lost 2-0, but we played the reverse card and won 2-0 at home. However, there is some bad news. Jesse Lingard's season is over after damaging his Achilles tendon. And at 32, is it time to let him go at the end of the season and cash in? We then had title challengers Chelsea visiting St Mary's next, and it was a 5-1 demolition. However, not the way you're expecting. Oh no, the Super Saints sent Chelsea back to London in tears. We played them off the park from start to finish. This left us in 11th after 24 games, but we do still have games in hand, so there's a chance for a late push into Europe. Next, Swansea, bottom of the league, winless, 4 draws all season. You think the FM gods would stick that middle finger up and give a giant you after that Chelsea win. But no, we took Swansea apart, winning 4-1. The result was never in doubt. The January transfer window came and went, largely uneventful thanks to the current financial situation, and as we entered February, we got Young Player of the Month clean sweep. Good old Marcus taking the crown. Now on to Liverpool. We went behind early. We showed fantastic character to pull it back with a goal from Marcus Leonardo, taking a share of the spoils from Anfield. For some reason, it's Chelsea again, and we couldn't replicate the 5-1 win, nor any win, however, but we managed to come from behind twice, grabbing a draw. And then it was Liverpool again, this time in the FA Cup, and they won 2-0, so yeah, and half the squad are unhappy about this, and the attempt to appease them went poorly. Oh, and the board are livid. We lost to Liverpool, give me a break. Morale is now nuked, and the season's probably about to get derailed. But then we drew 1-1 against Arsenal, which I see as a decent result. Lorenzo Luca with the goal, putting us ahead, but we couldn't hold on. A stalemate against Brentford 0-0 before a 2-1 defeat to Man United. We were ahead but couldn't hold on. That's 4 draws and a loss in our last 5, leaving us in 9th with 8 to play. Europe seems to be slipping through our fingers this season, unless we qualify via other means. Which leads us nicely onto the Conference League. We got Braga in the next round, and in the away leg we won 2-0 with goals from Burak Yilmaz and Ethan Ampadu. Back to the league, and we scraped a draw against Bournemouth with a last-minute equaliser from Lorenzo Luca. This is not enough. Our job genuinely could be at risk. Focusing back on the Conference League, and we were out of sight early against Braga. Ampadu scored after 20 minutes, and Sulemana made it 2 a couple of minutes later. A quick 1-2 punch and we were out of sight. Luca grabbed a second half brace before Braga nicked a consolation goal. A 6-1 aggregate win onto the quarterfinals. The international break was a welcome one, and the players came back rejuvenated with a 3-0 win against Watford, leaving us in 9th with 6 to play. The top 7 is within our grasp, but we'll have a job as City are the ones currently 7th. Promotion comrades Leicester up in 6th, and well, Spurs are still leading the way. It's all going on. We strode through the first leg against Leeds with a 2-0 win in the Conference League. Leonardo and Scott with the goals. Side note, Scott is wanted by Chelsea and doesn't want to renew his deal at the current time. His contract expires at the end of next season. From one bit of bad news to another, a 3-0 defeat to Newcastle, and we were bloody awful. We bounced back with a 5-0 win, 7-0 in aggregate in the Conference League against Leeds, a fabulous hat-trick from Kamaldeen Sulemana. We were out of sight within 8 minutes, with Sulemana already bagging a brace. Burak Yilmaz on the half-hour mark, and we coasted home. Avoiding conceding a single shot on target and having 16 of our own, it was utter domination. We took that into our next game against Villa, Marcus Leonardo getting the only goal of the game. We're doing what we need to, but have we left it a little too late for European qualification? We're 5 points off the pace with 4 games left. Winning the Conference League feels like our only hope at this stage. And in the Conference League semi-finals, it was Sociedad, and we went ahead inside 5 minutes with Arda Güler when he was given time and space to turn and finish. We were queuing up for the second. Sociedad had many chances to clear and didn't. Rooney Bargi stole in and made it 2. Burak Yilmaz made it 3 with a well-composed finish. We're now in a fantastic position for the final. But we're picking up injuries we could really do without. Gutierrez's season is over. We then beat Wolves 2-1 with goals from Margus and Ox, Orsic getting a late consolation, and we've been here before, looking for Leicester to slip up. It's deja vu, and it really is deja vu, as Everton held Leicester to a draw. We're 3 points behind with a game in hand. A decent win and our goal difference could be the thing that clinches it. And we made it to the final of the Conference League, comfortably so with a 2-0 win in Sociedad's backyard. A European final awaits against Sassuolo. I said we'd see you there. and we had the chance to leapfrog Leicester, and we looked on course after a first minute goal for Marcus Leonardo, but Leicester equalised and it finished 1-1. We then pummeled already relegated Sheffield United 4-0, leaving us in 7th on goal difference with 1 game to go. And as we approach the final league game of the season against West Ham, we see Pep's on the verge of getting the sack. Not a headline you expect to see every day. And we got off to a decent start with a goal from Arda Güler, and 2 minutes later, Rooney Bargi made it 2. West Ham grabbed one back late on, but we held on for the win, and we secured our second consecutive 7th place finish in the league. We did what we needed, and we just snuck it right at the end. Now with the Conference League final approaching, Alex Scott's still being touted to Chelsea, Lukaku had his say, and now Reece James is putting his penny's worth in. Let him focus, lads. You can have him in the summer for the right price. We're at the Conference League final, and we got off to a flyer. Arda Güler opening the scoring after a nice passing move, ahead inside 2 minutes. After 20 minutes though, Sassuolo struck back with a composed finish from Fratesi. It was level for 4 minutes when James Ward-Prowse played a lovely ball through to Marcus Leonardo, who controlled beautifully and finished it off, making it 2-1. Ward-Prowse then got himself on the score sheet from the spot before Leonardo completed the scoring, getting his second of the night. The Conference League winners, our first trophy for Southampton, here's to many more. The board have given us £58 million to spend. Can we finish higher than 7th? Can we win the Europa League? Will Alex Scott still be a saint? Or will he become a sinner?